I was talking to this guy on the phone who booked a call with me because he wanted to address some of his dating challenges. And something that he shared during that session, I think you will find quite interesting, and maybe you can even relate to that if you are currently dating. So I usually don't really take calls with guys anymore, because after I wrote my first book and I did coaching with men, helping them with dating challenges, I soon realized that very often they would pay me money because they would think that this would lead to something else, or they would think maybe this is going to be some kind of girlfriend experience, or they would not be able to really achieve the goals that we would set, because most of the time they would just try to impress me during those sessions. There was this one guy, I remember, he would even talk about his licking skills. I'm not even being funny. So I scraped that idea, and then I was like, you know what, I'll just help women instead. Anyway, I decided to give this guy a chance. I think there was a level of politeness that he demonstrated when he booked the call. By the way, if you would like to book a complimentary call with me to address some of your dating challenges, you can find a link in the description. I'm talking to this guy and I ask, what do you think is the reason that you are single, and what do you find the most challenging? I usually get all kinds of answers to that. Maybe someone had a nasty breakup, maybe they think that they're not good enough or something, they don't deserve love, maybe they spend the time digging a bit deeper and they think that it's the dynamic that they saw at home, toxic parents or something, so now they just actively go searching for that kind of love, even though consciously they don't want to attract that. Sometimes it could be a physical thing. Someone says I'm overweight and I think this is the reason that I'm single. Someone says I'm a big smoker, I'm very ashamed and I don't want to put myself out there because of that. Leave a flower emoji in the comments if you can think of the reason why you're still single. So what did this guy say? What was his story? This guy said that very soon he's going to change that thing about himself. He already has it booked, and then he will be able to change that physical thing about himself. Okay, I know I'm being a tease here. It's his hair. He's bald and he thinks that this is off-putting women, and this also has an impact on his confidence, on the way he's showing up, and he's convinced that once he gets that hair transplant, everything is just going to miraculously change. The way he's showing up, the way he is, he's going to go from Ford to Brad Pitt. I think Brad Pitt recently had a facelift. So I have a challenge for you. Finish the sentence. The reason I am single is ... So whatever your story is, because I am fat, I'm behind in my career, I haven't achieved anything, there are no good men out there, I am not funny, I don't know how to flirt, any of the reasons that you can think of. What is your story? Now let's go back to this guy who said that the reason he's single is because that he's bald, right? And that's affecting his confidence, his self-esteem, and the way he's showing up. So my advice to him would be this. How would you be showing up in the way you are dating, in the way you're approaching women, maybe even in your everyday life, and the way you interact with a barista that made you coffee, how you're going for promotion of work, how you're getting new clients, if you already had that full head of hair? How would you be showing up? What kind of person would the world see if you already had those things? So now a challenge for you, right? How would you be showing up if you didn't think that, oh, I am so messed up because of what my parents did. I am so messed up because of my trauma. The reason I'm not able to attract anyone, the reason I am still single, it's because that I only go after guys that are unavailable, emotional unavailable, married, already involved with someone else. This is something that I talk a lot about on this channel, so make sure that you subscribe. I think it's quite normal that in life we get into a certain routine. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing that you do? The breakfast that you have, the TV series that you watch, you may be rewatching the same thing over and over again. And if you look through your life, right, your every day is going to be pretty much the same. That's just usually how life is, unless you make an effort to think of certain things and do something that is different. But other than that, it's pretty much the same. And sometimes this routine and this feeling of this is the same is the healthiest thing that you can create for yourself. However, with that also comes certain stories that you are telling yourself. So you have a routine how you brush your teeth, but you probably also have a routine how you view yourself and how you view dating and how you view potential people that you could be meeting and how you are maybe behaving on dates. So how can you get yourself out of that routine, and how can maybe you look at yourself with fresh big eyes, and maybe how can you approach a dating app with slightly different eyes? I have videos on my channel about online dating and how your profile can be full of red flags, which you can watch later. But how can you approach dating with more curiosity? And instead of being, okay, how can I maybe not mess things up? How can I not show how not perfect I am? What am I supposed to be saying and behaving so this person likes me? And yes, if you are interacting with someone that you have no interest in, then you're probably not gonna care whether they like you or not. Is there a side of you that you seem to bringing into dating, but then you bring a completely different side of you when it comes to people that you love, when it comes to your girlfriends, when it comes to people that you feel comfortable around, and they can see a playful and funny and a more spontaneous and creative side of you. However, when it comes to dating, it's almost like you freeze and you just don't know what's happening, and you may be doing overtime trying to think, okay, what can I do so this person likes me? What can I do so I don't mess things up? And this is the reason why dating feels that you need rest from it. Also find ways to have faith in yourself and this understanding that maybe where you are at right now on this journey to dating, and as frustrating as that is, but what if this is exactly where you had to be? And yes, it is painful, it is extremely frustrating when you have to deal with another bad date, with maybe someone ghosting you, where you have to be disappointed, where you come on a date and they don't look what you thought they would, where maybe you spoke with someone on the phone for 2 weeks and now you meet in person, it's just something is off. Something feels really, really off, and now you feel, I cannot believe I'm in square one again. But it is not a square one, because all those things that led you to this very point are very important, and I think you are very, very close to meeting that person. But can you take a little step back, slow down, and think, okay, what are the stories that I'm telling myself? What are those limitations that I'm putting on myself? And maybe I can rewrite a story. And maybe instead of thinking there are no good men left out there, maybe I can be like, you know what? Why am I attracted to this kind of guy? What are the reasons? Could I maybe go to certain places where I could meet different kind of people? Am I really open? Am I really present when I'm going for a coffee? Am I on the phone, or am I actually sitting, relaxing, observing what is happening, and maybe interacting with a stranger, no matter what that interaction could be, which could lead you to something else? And sometimes just connecting with a stranger makes you feel less like a crazy person behind a dating app, even though it may lead you nowhere. Because it's so easy to think that, oh, it's just all these strangers behind those screens, no one cares, everyone is just ghosting. But how can you start with yourself? Because you are the only person that you can control on a good day. So what is the story that you are telling yourself, and how can you rewrite that story? And while you're rewriting it and going on those dates, make sure you don't make these terrible 15 dating mistakes that are very common. Please like this if you found it useful, share with your girlfriend, subscribe for more, and thank you so much for watching.